All right, so doing this problem with the quadratic formula, just plugging everything in, it would first look like this. We'd have negative b, so that's negative 5, plus or minus the square root of b squared. B is 5, 5 squared is 25. All right, and then we're going to subtract 4 times a times c. Okay, so that's 4 times 2 times 2. Okay, 4 times 1, 2 would be 8, times another 2 would be 16. All right, and then we put it all over. Remember, it's 2 times a. And in this case, a is 2, so that would be a 4. Now we just simplify again. And the second step, it's always going to be simplifying the part underneath the square root sign. Okay, because it's subtraction. So that's always going to be like the next step pretty much. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, and remember this formula says it's x equals all of this. I should have been writing this. All right, so the negative 5 we still leave, the plus or minus we still leave. But now 25 minus 16 is 9. So we can change that to a 9. All right, and then we still have to put it all over the 4. So all we did so far was subtract 25 minus 16. Okay, now we just keep simplifying. All right, so up here we simplified underneath the square root. We're going to keep simplifying that square root now if we can. Okay, does anybody know, is the square root of 9, is that a rational number? Is that a whole number? Good. So our next step, we're going to replace the square root of 9 with the 3. So it's going to say negative 5 plus or minus 3 over 4. And now we basically we almost have our final answers. Okay, we just have to do negative 5 plus 3 and then divide it by 4. Then we have to do negative 5 minus 3 and divide that by 4. All right, so we got negative 5 plus 3 over 4. And then we have negative 5 minus 3 over 4. All right, so if we do negative 5 plus 3, that's negative 2. Divided by 4 would be negative 1/2 or negative 0.5. Good, Lena. Excellent. All right, and then down here, if you're down 5 and you subtract 3, you're going to be down 8. Negative 8 divided by 4 would be a negative 2. So now we got to the point where we can't simplify anything. We're left with 2 numbers. And so those are the answers. That's how you would solve this one with quadratic formula. And no matter what number they put in front, okay, like if I wanted to change this to a freaking 17, okay, all that would change is that now a would be 17. So you'd have to plug the 17 in instead of the 2. Okay, so this will work with any type of equation, no matter what it looks like, as long as you get A, B, and C right. I'm going to show you a different way to do it that might be a little faster, like less work, but it might take you longer. I don't know. So I'm going to do both ways, and we'll let you guys decide. Okay, and your answers might be different. Some of you guys might want to factor, some might want to do the formula. Okay, so factoring, remember, that's where we have the 2 parentheses. All right, and we're trying to basically like undistribute. Okay, so the thing about it though, when they put a number in the front like this, normally, don't write this, but normally we always start with an x and an x. It's just like a given. But if you think about, if we put an x and an x there and you multiplied them, x times x, you would only get 1x squared. You wouldn't have the 2 in front of it. Okay, so right away, what that tells us about our factors is that one of these has to be a 2x, and then the other one has to be a 1x. So that way, when we multiply them together, even though we're not going to, then it would get us back to what we started with up there in front. So that's the first way that the number in front messes up the factoring. Okay, are there any questions on why it's a 2x and an x? I have to imagine distributing and like basically use trial and errors to figure out what the other numbers are going to be. Okay, because there's going to be a number here and a number here. Okay, and if you think about it, at the very end, we're going to have to multiply those numbers together, and we should come out with a 2. Again, we're kind of looking ahead. You know, like if we were to distribute, okay, this is kind of how you have to factor these ones. It's basically guessing and checking. Okay, so we know that those last two numbers have to multiply to a positive 2. Okay, and because this one's positive, I know both of these are going to be pluses. Okay, so basically my only two options, I either put a 2 here and a 1 here, or a 2 here and a 1 here. And one of those is going to be the answers. All right, so to figure it out, you literally just pick one to start with and just guess and check in your head. Okay, so we know with all this stuff we have written so far that this is going to work at the beginning. Okay, we know that's going to work. We know that's going to work. All right, but our question is, what's going to happen in the middle here if we put the 1 there and the 2 there? Okay, so to figure that out, we have to think about the steps in the middle. All right, notice we looked at this step already, the 2x times the x. And we looked at this step already, the 1 times the 2. We just have to look at the steps in the middle. So here, if we do this 2x and multiply it by that 2, that's going to give me 4 x's. And then if I take this 1 and multiply it by that x, that's going to give me another 1x. And then if we put those things together, the 4x plus 1x, that's going to give us 5x, which is what happens to be in the middle. So it's opposite of the number. So opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. And then we have to put it over the number in front. And then for this one over here, since it's just an x in the front, that one we do it normal. It's just negative 2, opposite, and you're done.